You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the Meta. The Meta controls everything. The Meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.
Hello, hello, boys and
Ta-da!
girls.
I fixed it. I made it work.
There we go. You did fix it. Wow,
Yeah.
we're matching again, Boat.
Oh wait,
you and I
yeah,
are
black
both
shirt. Yeah,
rocking black today.
Yeah,
This is. I was in a rush because we had a fireside chat run long, so I didn't have a chance to quickly change into my Matani costume and wear a red shirt.
Yeah, I got this shirt because I went to the gym, and after the gym, I just needed a shirt to throw on after the shower. So it's like, oh, I'll just wear my gym shirt. Yeah, it's
Okay.
great. We're here, and it's good day. It was going to be.
This
a horrible day.
is gonna be a pretty wild show. So we've got a bunch of guests here today. Boat has gone through a lot of effort and got us a lot of guests here that are involved in this escalating DRF shit show war, which doesn't yet have a name. So I'm just gonna call it the DRF war shit show thing.
Good. I was trying to think we could come up with a name live on the show, so that works for me.
And so, like, we have a lot of people who are involved in this on one side or another, and I have only good feelings about this war, not only because it's a bunch of people that are our enemies killing each other, which is always good from a Goonstorm perspective, but the fact that when Boat was trying to get guests for this, a lot of them were really pissy about who was going to be on and who wasn't going to be on. None of the dudes who are here, everybody who was actually here were mature adults about it. But
what's great too, it gets even better than that. So like some of them were like, I quit Eve a year ago, Boat, where you been? So that was like PK. I had another 2 guests from the DRF coming, but one's at like a Mizzou game because he's a college booster and is busy enjoying his wonderful seats at the Mizzou game. So he's busy with that. Another one said, I would have loved to have came, but you didn't ping me early enough. I pinged him 2 days ago. Another one was like, well, since you don't have any FCon guys, well, we can't really come up with any others. 2 DRF guys were like, we can't comment at the moment. Obviously, I couldn't get any GOTG guys because I don't even think they exist. And yeah, so now we're left with all these wonderful people.
So that's a good sign. Generally, whenever a war is, people are heated enough. Jin Town was going to be joining us, but apparently he's gearing up to fight Pandemic Legion right now, despite the fact that we have Killa B right here. Killa, can you? How is that going? We'll introduce.
Yeah, we're brawling. We're brawling.
Yeah. Also, Pro God Legend will be here shortly, but he said he'll be a couple of minutes.
It's you just got boosted, my boy.
That's pretty crazy. So we've got Killa B is like both being a guest live and FCing and managing it, unlike Jintan. So
yeah, Jintan's a little too busy. So
let's go through. We've got a lot to talk about this week. Not only with the fact that we have a bunch of guests to talk about a very hot war, but there is just a tremendous amount of change happening. There was drama within PL involving Doom Chinchilla and Capri Sun, and that was hilarious. There was the fact that the moon changes are coming in 3 days, 4 days.
The Reza Corp drama that hit Reddit, since he's in PL now, that's of course another big thing on PL. PL is going to be a hot topic here on the Nullsec Power Hour because there was like 8 or 9 different threads. I cherry picked the best ones. Some of these had over one had almost 2,000 comments. Like people were really heated, which is kind of interesting because PL is kind of like the fanboys of Reddit, in the eyes of Reddit. So to see so much hate flow their way was.
We could ask Varan because he is our guest here today from Pandemic Horde, which will be nice. But basically, what we have here most of the time, I think we're going to be talking. I'm going to try to, our top story, which we'll get to in a moment, is going to be this DRF war thing, and I'll try to be throwing in some questions about the moon changes and how the various alliances that we have guests from are going to be adapting to them. Because not only are we having this big war in Eve, but there's this tremendous amount of disruption. All at once.
The great thing is we were going to try to have Vince Draken come on to talk for the NC, but Vince is busy celebrating his birthday. He says hi, everyone. But the
Vince is attending about as well as he did the CSM.
Yes. So Vince Draken's comment about this moon thing was, let me find it here. He said, we've been busy doing our wormhole thing. And then he replies with, but at the moment, who knows what we're going to be doing because moons are kind of shit. Oh yeah, here he goes. It's as we are busy harboring these stupid moons, but it's kind of done now. So rip moons. See ya. So I'm guessing let's just kind of give it up on moons, you know.
Let's do some shout outs here, and then let's go to the top story, because I want to introduce our guests who are all related to this DRF War shit show. And when we go around to our guests, I want you guys not only to introduce yourselves once we get to the top story, but also tell us what you think the war should be called. So yeah, let's see. RDevs 13 months in a row. Mad Viking 90,000 for 13 months in a row. Badass. Roland Hova 27 months. Wow, dude. Guy Twitch Prime.
Yeah, Sir Blix 28 months. Avamac just subscribed. Yay.
Got KJack 57. We've got a lot of fucking sub hype. Sweet.
Yep, lots of subs. So yeah, and we'll go right into our top story because
with our nifty animation, we've got a really badass.
And yeah, the top story for today, I called it the DRF vs. PanFam New Proxy War. That's my naming of it. And the reason oh, sorry.
Why are you calling that?
So I'm calling it a proxy war because it's being run like from the outside perspective and from people I've talked to on the inside. It's GOTG invading the XIX, specifically XIX, over some random ass bullshit reason that I can't even quantify. That might possibly be as horrible as the SMA versus that one random website war started. Like, this DRF thing might turn out to be two guys who are real life buddies at work. One guy owning the company, the other guy working for him, and going, okay, we hate each other now. And it's just like a mess.
It's sort of shades of the casino war there.
Right.
You know, our one of our longtime guests who's been commenting before this became such a shit show, Garst Terrell, of course, from Triumvirate, has been a guest on the Meta Show many times the last couple of months, and has been sort of our one of our most consistent commentators on what the fuck is going on. So Garst, can you first introduce yourself for people who haven't seen you before, and let us know what you think this war should be called, and from your perspective, what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me back on. So I'm Garst Tyrell, leader and one of the lead FCs for Triumvirate Alliance. I wouldn't really have like an official name for the war that we're using, but I'm pretty partial to the Dunkin' Donuts war myself. We got some good memes going with that. So I'm going to throw that in the ring.
Sweet. And how have things changed for the war from your perspective just within the last 2 weeks?
Well, with the GTG invading up north, DRF now actually has a two-front war that they're having to choose between timers on. You're looking at two entities that have, you know, a massive amount of members, saws, structures, systems, citadels, all that. So there's a lot of guessing on both sides of, you know, where can we focus our effort, where can we actually make gains, how can we time it, like what. So DRF basically has to choose now between what they care about, north or south. And since their only real goal down south is to basically cock block try and save FCON, now that their actual assets and renters are on the line up north against GOTG, you know, we'll have to see what they do and how likely they are to continue committing down south.
Well, speaking of commitment, we have a question here in chat of why is Killa B here when PL are about to drop caps? Killa, this is a good segue. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you think about this war and what PL's involvement in it is.
He can't introduce himself because he just muted his microphone because something crazy just happened, and I'll tell you exactly about that craziness in a few moments. But for now, it's developing.
If he actually did multitask like that, that's excellent.
Yeah, so he's dealing with that just at the moment.
Let's pass it over to Antar Logan, who is going to be our representative from Legion of Death here today. Antar, how are things in this war for your perspective, and what do you call it?
Hi guys, I am Antar Logan. I am one of the FCs. Well, actually, I very seldomly FC, but I guess I would represent the DRF Alliance in this case, and I would call this war the Blue Donut War versus Bat Phone War, where basically one side bad phones to win timers, the other one just has the numbers. So yeah, the war's going pretty good. We tries kind of, I would say they're losing a lot of timers, and I guess we are getting a lot of pressure from the south, and the north at the moment.
Now, since we're in a situation where PL has been sort of involved with this for a little bit, but Kilo can't actually talk about this because he's busy.
Okay, I need to interrupt
Being in a
this for
fight.
a second.
Okay.
So Pro God Legend can't make it at the moment, and the reason he's not here at this exact moment is PL didn't know that Test had dreads in range of PL for the CBA fight, and when PL dropped their caps, surprise!
So Test has.
So Test just dropped a shitload of caps on PL with CBA, so they use CBA as bait. So that's why Pro God's not here. He said that's the surprise I could share with you guys. And surprise!
Do you have any idea about how many dreads on each
I
side?
have no
currently?
clue. I just
Get
know
you a
that.
D-scan if you want.
Yeah,
If
someone
you
give
can
me
get
a
a
D-scan,
D-scan,
yeah.
that'd be fantastic.
Because
That's a
came
good
into
segue.
that.
If Varin is going to be there on the field and have a D-scan, why don't you introduce yourself? You're from Pandemic Horde, of course, and
Hi,
have
yes.
been streaming a lot of fights. And tell us about. You guys are on a slightly different side on this. I mean, Horde is fighting against PL. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, we are on a contract from the DRF, so we're fighting whoever they're fighting, and that does include PL and NC and GOTG right now.
So how's that working out?
I mean, there hasn't been any incidents so far, if that's what you mean specifically, but, you know, we just don't shoot our blues, and there hasn't yet been a fight where there hasn't been somebody to shoot on both sides, so I think it's working out fine so far.
Yeah, I got a message from Gobbins about this specifically this morning, where he said that there was a fight between Pandemic Horde, MC, and Tri, and he was trying to act very modest about this fight, as it's not public. A battle report was not linked anywhere, but here's the link to it. So this is the fight that happened over at Fortizar. Do you know much about this fight? It's the 8-WY Fortizar that belonged to Stellanova.
Yeah, I mean, I know a little bit. I can't give you like a play-by-play of what happened, but like essentially, Snova was making an exit from the area, and then they decided to, like, they were allied with Tri, and then they just decided, fuck it, we've had enough.
Sorry I'm late,
But then
guys.
They decided to
1 second.
like start transferring their shit to Tri, so we dropped on it, and yeah, the battle.
I'm gonna be off and on. We're killing PL caps, but
Is it? Can you give us a quick update from the
There's
field?
so many of us on
Give
this
us an
call that are being
update.
distracted by this
It's
shit.
Pro God Legend Piggle. Can you give us a quick update on what's
yeah,
happening?
we're jumping all our supers to Titans in now. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
All right. Do you have any? How many PL caps does it?
They have 50 and we have 210, so real nail biter here. Real nail biter here.
Live on the Meta Show.
Live
That
on the
explains
Meta
why everybody
Show.
is just like coming up here to say hello. Killer B was all like, "Oh, Jintan won't come on the Meta Show. He's a pussy." And then,
Surprise!
wow, beautiful.
I didn't even know about
Beautiful.
this, so Pro God's like, I'm gonna be a few minutes late. I can't, it's gonna be a few minutes, but don't tell anyone because I got a big surprise I'm gonna show you. And then Jay Amazinus, who's also here, goes, yeah, Test Dredge just appeared, and here come the rest of the test.
Jay, are you on the
Current
field,
D-scan.
or do you have eyeballs there as well, or?
I'm watching the Avern stream.
Average.
I have the manager up on the audio and watching the visuals of the
So,
stream.
That's amazing.
an interesting point here. Goblins points out that that they didn't post a battle report on Reddit because they blobbed them. I mean, that's why I also had Celine coming. He's not here at the moment, which he could be any second. He's here any moment, so he'll be here in a second. But the feeling is that Tri got outnumbered. Was this just a bad time zone, Garst, or like what was going on with this one?
No, I mean, this was just something we showed up to for fun as a favorite. And they, like, max red pen CTA for us, so we showed up and was like, oh, I guess it's serious. So we'll try a little bit. But, obviously outnumbered, so we had some fun, but couldn't save the fort.
Poor Ford.
What do you think currently?
Alright,
like,
sorry,
now
I
that-
had to pass target calling off there, but I'm good.
Sweet. Can you give us
Yeah. So we're jumping supers to Titans in. PL Macarials are trying to pull range. And yeah,
open
it's
off.
going pretty Max just abandoned their caps. The Mac fleet's warping off, just leaving their caps to die.
Cool. Maybe
So-
Killer B can come back and talk to us then.
Yeah, we'll see if Killer Bee's here in a second.
Wow. So one of the things that's curious about this is, as we can see, so many parties are involved in this war that it makes it hard to predict whether one party is going to surprise the other, right? There's so many people on these different sides that it's hard for one entity or another to keep track. Which brings up the question is, ProGod, like, what is this war about from the test perspective, and what do you guys call this war currently, if you have a name for it?
Which war in particular?
This shit show in the
FCON DRF versus
the DRF thing that you guys are all involved in.
I mean, we don't really call it anything in particular internally. We just we're involved in the triumvirate FCON DRF war, for various reasons. We also have PL constantly pressuring our allies in catch, and we're involved in that. We've got NC Dot helping them out as well. We've got RA and DRF, fucking with our catch allies and RFing their structures as well. We kind of just call it the general everyone's fucking with test right now. We're constantly forming for stuff moment.
Yeah.
Now, would you say that you guys are one of the, everybody's fighting with test, like, where is the front line? I mean, either ProGod Legend or Garst, one of you guys can answer. Like, is there a region or a particular zone where most of the action is taking place?
Now that GOTG is invading Peregrine Falls, the front line's like the entire east. I mean, we fight daily all the way from Stain to Innsmother.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a lot.
I
mine daily.
Fleet here too, right?
Wait, Jay, what was that? I'm sorry.
I mine daily. I'm having a lot of fun mining right now.
Yeah, Goonstorm, of course, just mines. We don't really do anything. I see that Celine has joined us here on Discord, but I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to talk. He's got his mic muted currently, so we are having more people file in. We hadn't really finished with the introductions before all of the hilarity kicked off, but I think that works just as well. So I mean, with this that's going down right now, Ivarin, this is a situation where PL is getting turbo fucked. Does Horde have a fleet out? Like, where does Horde stand currently on this?
I mean, Horde isn't like. I feel like people have this idea that Horde is at the beck and call of PL, and when you say that we're not, they go, yeah, narrative. But like, no, Horde hasn't been called for backup or anything like that, and like, this is PL's theater, Like, we're not.
Do you
really
think that's going to
crowded.
change after ProGod Legend gets done with them?
No, I don't think so.
ProGod, what's your perspective on? I just sort of want to hear. Like, we've had Try talk about this war and where it's going. What have you seen, like, with the intervention of Guardians of the Galaxy? How has that impacted this multi-theater fuckfest?
Oh, it's interesting. I'm shocked that GOTG would move their cap fleet over the border with any consistency. That's in the current mechanics, moving your cap fleet across a regional gate. I mean, that leaves you open to. I mean, that just leaves you really vulnerable, which they shouldn't worry about because they're part of the new Northern Coalition, so they know they're pretty secure in their area up there with the entire Northern Coalition backing them.
Celine says buttons are hard, and he's finally unmuted. He thought I had him muted at first. So, my curiousness is, we see Pandemic Horde involved with helping FCON, which is interesting because, of course, Test is blue to FCON. But MC, you guys were originally hired to help FCON because I believe the comment was the other side didn't pay enough. So what happened with you guys? Like, how did you get involved in this?
I wish it was that complicated. I went, before I went to Vegas, I had pending convos with about 2 or 3 different people. And when I got back, chatted with a couple of folks and ended up talking to Gobbins. And we ended up moving down to Curse and staging with Horde. And we're just basically helping them with strategic objectives in the region and shooting shit in all directions whenever there's not a strat op going on right now.
Okay, so what do you call this war in your eyes? Like, what's a good name for it?
It's a clusterfuck.
It's a clusterfuck.
I swear to God, I get down here. I mean, we get down here, and I'm just like, okay, so let's see, Horde and PL and FCON. What the fuck? You need a fucking diagram or a PhD in politics to figure this shit out. So I was just like, all right, what are we shooting tonight? Okay, let's go shoot that. All right, what's tomorrow? Okay, it's one day at a time. The one day at a time war is what works for me.
That seems accurate. I mean, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, and I'm supposed to be like the politics guy. Either maybe I'm getting senile in my old age, but yeah, you do need a diagram to figure out who's on what side and what the hell is happening.
Oops, wrong button.
Jay, what you got?
PGL, how much would I have to pay you to kill CVA camps? With your supers? That'd be pretty funny.
Frogod, how much?
Live here on the Meta Show.
How much?
Pretty sure they killed one when they came in.
Yeah, but they're all right there.
He
how
moved
much?
to AFK because
I'm back. Sorry.
All right, Frogod, how
did
much
you
to
guys
kill
prime
the?
one?
How much to kill the CVA caps after PL's dead?
No, we don't do that, man.
Ah, come on.
Haven't you heard? Money isn't everything. Money isn't everything.
That's not what I've heard. Because I'm about to drop a
Tess would never make a strategigic decision based on money.
Okay,
He
well, I'm
would
about
never
to
do
drop a
that.
bomb, and I want to get everyone's opinion one by one if we possibly can. Especially some of the guys in DRF. All right, we'll start with Antar with this one. I got a report from a dear friend and potential spy in the north in the GOTG group, saying that Sort made an offer to XIX. You give us trillions, we walk away. Is that actually a thing, or is that a rumor?
There was a conversation between two ex-friends, something like that, and I guess that was the whole thing of why this war went a little bit sideways at the beginning, because this guy was getting a lot of intel from his so-called friends that certain entities were involved in the war, where I was like, nah, this can't be, it has to be PL because there's like a lot of strategic shit involved, etc. And he was calling other people to blame. So in the end, this all went to shit when GOTG invaded. So this person was Sword Dragon that basically screwed his BFF or something like that, and they tried to settle it. He wanted like $1 trillion or $2 trillion or something stupid, and of course, that's not gonna happen.
Ooh.
So,
this is interesting. This is the interesting
I'm
thing.
curious, one of the things about this war heating up and getting so bitter is the timing, right? Like, we are having a massive series of economic disruptions that are going to hit on Tuesday. And meanwhile, everybody is expending a lot of blood and treasure for objectives that seem to be sort of unclear across a number of theaters. So just sort of going around here, I'd like to ask Garst from a Triumvirate perspective, how are you guys in Triumvirate preparing for the changes to moons, and how do you think that's going to impact or not what is happening in this war?
I don't think the moons are going to directly impact the war either way. I think there's too much already in play from both sides, and bigger strategic goals that the moons are going to be side action. Plus, you're putting Citadel mechanics in them, which already inherently limits how often you can fight over them and the kind of the ass pain you have to do it.
I mean, Garst is in Smother, and I mean that area of space. I've lived there before. I know there's not really that much moon income over there. Is it even really that big of a thing for y'all at the moment?
There's decent income. I mean, we make up in bulk what we probably didn't have. Like, you can't compare like Fountain or Period Basis or something to other regions, but they're going to reset all the moons anyway. So, I mean, I don't know what their algorithm is, and they're going to emphasize one region over another. I mean, for all we know, probably could become highly desirable if it's truly random. Who knows?
Do you think that everybody has enough of a stockpile in terms of income to be able to keep this going? I mean, I'm not really sure if the FCons of the world have a deep war chest. Let's ask Celine this. I mean, you're new to this conflict. Do you think that there's going to be any impact of people, or do you think people are just going to have enough cash to throw it around?
Well, I think it's going to depend a lot on what people have managed to like hoard away over the last several months. I mean, that's the obvious answer. You've got people who have been sitting in these regions rather stagnant for the last 2 to 3 years. And this is probably the biggest shakeup in at least this part of space in quite some time. I mean, everything else has been in either the north or the south, or down towards Pravi from time to time. It's going to be interesting to see whose war chest lasts the longest, I think. But there was a really interesting perspective. I think it was actually on whatever you call your website these days, or maybe it was Crossing Zebra. Yeah, it was either on Imperium News or Crossing Zebras. I can't remember. That was talking basically about what the price spike in Tech 2 items is going to be, And I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what the fleet meta is going to be in the next 3 to 4 months. How people are going to, are people going to have to are there even going to be stocks of Tech 2 guns to put on ships and things? So
that's what we're worried about. Well, I don't think most.
It's nothing to
don't use that many T2 ships other than logistics. It's not like 4 or 5 years ago where a collapse in the hack market would literally destroy some people's ability to fight. Like, other than T2 logistics ships and dictors, the ship market shouldn't really affect people too badly. But like, what are shield tanking fleets going to do when adaptive invul Tech 2s cost like $15 million a module?
Well,
question.
I mean, look at just what people have been throwing battlecruiser fleets at each other like there's nothing fucking going on. I mean, because you can SRP a Ferox or a fucking Hurricane for 20, 30 mil because you're really just paying for the guns. And what happens whenever you can't find any guns to put on the damn things? I mean, it's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing here with the moons, and then in combination, the Macarios. Now, Aerith's been on here before, and Aerith pointed out that Macarios have enough of stockpile that the price shift to like $1 billion plus for these things isn't going to be felt for a while, at least not in the near future, and maybe not at all for big name alliances. But now I'm really curious, like if you look at Delve, and I'm going to use Delve as an example, it tends to have its own market. It's the third highest market in the game, just recently passed the Dixie. That market I feel might be more stable than some random spot in the back of drones, maybe Cobalt Edge or something. Like they're going to struggle to find the mods. And I don't know.
I think they'll be able to import them from JITA, but their spikes for particular like T2 items is gonna be an impact. But from like an alliance perspective, most of the entities that are involved in this war have SRP programs, right? And have also relied upon passive income for a very long time. Regardless of whether you're using a given doctrine ship, most of the alliances that are here, whether they like it or not, are fueled by passive moon mining, right? And that's going away. So that's the real question is, so here, let's throw this back to Antar, because I don't think people, the Russian organizations in the DRF often have renter systems, but they do own moons. Antar, what are you guys doing, if you can tell us, to prepare for Tuesday?
Well, it's a little bit different with us, right? Because we have a lot of rental income. The moons is a great passive one for everyone at the moment, for every major alliance.
You need to align, ProGod. Antar, please continue.
Yep, my bad, I got it. Sorry.
and basically, are the PL dreads dead yet, or is it done? Just curious.
Yeah, it's all dead.
They're all dead.
Oh yeah.
Even the Coraxes, which just came and died. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah. So basically,
True story. This is the first time in my 11 years of playing that ProGod Legend, the character, has ever used capital in combat.
Ooh, sounds like the Matani whenever he shows up. Okay,
excellent.
All right, Antar, go ahead.
All of my cap alts are banned, so this is all I can do.
All right, Antar, go ahead. Tell us about this.
Basically, there was a huge shift from a lot of alliances that decided to rent out stuff. Like you see Tribute and Tino, what else is there? Half of Veil, right? You see NC/PL rental stuff. So that's more or less what people are doing. They're converting their income to rentals rather than moons. But the new stuff, you gotta take it as it comes, because you gotta wait, you gotta probe out all the new moons, right? You gotta set up the stuff. It takes about 30 days or something stupid to actually build them. So it'll take a little bit for it to adjust, but I'm sure it's still going to be some kind of an income in the future,
yeah?
Do you guys have an organized system planned, like a tax policy or something from Legion of Death to handle moons, or has that not been done yet?
What do you mean? Right now, like the current system is basically most of the R64s in our, like everyone else, it goes into SRP, so it's their alliance moons, yeah.
Okay, I got a report from my friend that's in the DRF. He says the plan is to have rental cut down to the changes with anomalies coming too, so to bring the price down. So rental, it still becomes more of a we might be able to still do that. So I'm curious about
Celine,
that,
I'm going to bring this over to Celine here. So the impression that I'm getting, and Celine is very plugged into politics because of a lot of reasons. The impression that I'm getting, and I'm curious, the impression that I've been getting is that a lot of alliances are not preparing for the patch and are basically adopting like, hey, we'll just see what happens when shit goes down. And
I can't believe there's anyone like that.
Is that something you've seen, Celine, or what's your view on it in terms of prep?
I think it's quite the opposite, actually, because I mean, even in my alliance, everyone is like looking at, okay, let's make sure that no one buys double BPOs. No one does twice the work for the same gain. There's probably, I'd be curious to know what the spike is on on probes and scanners and everything else, because come Tuesday, I think everybody's just going to basically, I'd be shocked if there's like anybody fighting on Tuesday, because everybody's going to be scanning moons for the next day or two to figure out what the fuck there's, but what's the potential riches in their area of space, or where do they need to look at moving to take some riches from other folks. I don't really know exactly what is going on in every alliance, but I'm shocked if everybody doesn't have like at least a group of 20 or 30 dudes or just turbo nerding the shit out of all of these changes.
Yeah, so this question I want to put towards the guys like Garst, and when Killabee gets back, I'll ask him about this, because there was a comment about PL and how they're...
Where is Killabee, by the way?
He's dealing with his Mac fleet. He'll be here shortly. Garst, I mean, you guys are getting out of the Sov game as much as possible, and you're limiting your space. But what does this do for you guys in Moons? Because again, like when it comes to like PL and NC, they're like freaking out about Moons. Like, hey, we can't mine these. There's no way. We don't have the manpower. What does that do for an alliance your size? Like, can you actually mine the moons that you own, even if they're just R64s? Is there enough people?
Well, we're not getting out of the Sov game. It's not like we're giving up our Sov or anything. We're just, in a war like this, where we have so many enemies fighting us, we have to give up the peripheral Sov that's not being used. That's what you've seen, TC's being lost. Who cares? But anyway, as far as actually mining the stuff goes, we're going to have to play it by ear, to be quite honest. Like, we're not a Care Bear alliance. We're not going to go out and obviously have like CTA fleets for Rorqual mining these moons or anything like that. So we'll probably open up to our existing renters and allies and just see how it goes, to be honest. But it's definitely going to be a change in the meta that's going to hurt us, I think, in the short term. Okay,
Killabee is back. Hi, Killabee.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
I heard you had fun.
I'm fine.
So was that enjoyable for you as much as it was for us?
Let us know how things went down from a PL perspective.
It was pretty good. You went the whole thing?
Yeah. I mean, did you know it was coming?
No, I mean we didn't see tests coming as at least not this fast. Like when tests started undocking their people from UDHQ, we obviously knew they were going to come for us, and we started clearing tackle. But the first batch of test threats and shit obviously appeared a little faster than expected. But that's life, whatever. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool. Anyways, like that was at least hands down, right? Like we've been playing with Jintan for quite a while now, so I think this was a little overdue, anyways.
Yeah.
And it happened, so that's cool.
Honestly,
yeah, go.
God, you go.
Oh, I was like, honestly, I didn't even know you guys were dropping caps in Provi until 2 days ago when y'all were posting about it on Reddit.
Oh yeah, no, we've been doing it for a while, and Provi has been.
Well, now I know. I've been looking back at it. It's crazy.
Yeah, Provi's been feeding us continuously. It's been great fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty good.
So the question we're asking here, and you're our representative from PL, because I tried to get a bunch of others and none of them would respond. They were too busy doing some topics that we'll talk about if we get to them later. But what is PL's plan with this new patch? I mean, you guys are a smaller alliance. I know you have Tino for where you guys do your individual money making, but how are you guys handling the moon change? What's the plan for this? I heard a rumor, and I would like you to
actually let's just let him answer the question.
Sorry.
So we have the it's public, right? We have this we obviously have our rental alliance called WeArmT, and we have in the WeArmT rental agreement we've stated that basically we will be claiming moons we will be picking the moons that we want with PL or NC, depending on who the system belongs to individually, and then once we've done that, the moons will be open to rent us. And they can rent the moons from us separately from the system, right? So the way it works is it can be person A renting the system, and they just use the system to mine in the Anom, and then or to rat in the bells or something, right? And then another set of person, maybe like another 3 people, could rent 3 individual moons in that system, and and use those for moon mining and stuff. That's how we're going to handle it. So we're probably going to do it the way we've always done it in PL, which is the moons will be personal. PL has not had Alliance moons for a while, so I think that will just be people that are interested in mining the moons in PL. We have now that we actually have Zoth, we have evolved quite some miners in PL as well, and those people will probably claim some of those moons and mine them, and the rest will be rented away for people that want to pay for it.
Renting in the modern environment is I've got some questions about that, because the number of people playing the game is sort of stagnant. Like, things are interesting right now, but the galaxy is getting bigger. It's easier for us to extract a lot more value from a smaller amount of space. What would you say over the last quarter or so and going into this, like, where are rental incomes at from a PL perspective? You don't have to tell me the number, just like, are things going up, are these going down, like, how is it?
Yeah, so the numbers going up. It's obviously nothing compared to bot, what it used to be. Well, actually, I wouldn't even say it's nothing compared to that. It's not as big of a rental empire, so it's not generating as much income, but it is generating a pretty good income, and it's been going up in the last 3 months pretty continuously. I think you're right in the sense that the amount of players is stagnant, but the amount of people interested in renting is enormous. There's so many people that are living in HiSec that just want to be opened up to the opportunities of making money in 0-0 with a certain amount of risk to it, but not that much. Because honestly, if you look on the average day in Tenal, for example, you have 1 or 2 wormhole gangs roaming by, and that's about it. So on the average day, we maybe lose like a couple of Vexers, couple of whatever VNIs, and maybe a Rockwool a day up in the north, and the rest of the day it's completely empty and quiet, just because of that.
Why would somebody want to rent rather than like joining an organization like Horde? I mean, Horde is free.
That's a very good question. I've never been a renter. I'd never really understood why people would want to rent space, but there's plenty of people out there. I guess they just enjoy feeling safe and making money fairly easily. That's what my assumption is, but I can't answer your question.
Yeah, so I read this thing, and Avrid, you could comment about this, that Pandemic Horde their plan is to charge 30% off the top. So let's say the moon's valued at 1 billion, the person has to pay 300 mil up front, and even if that moon makes no money, that's not on Horde, that's on the person mining the moon. And doesn't that lead to like a slippery slope where people might just say, fuck it, I'm not going to moon mine, this shit's too risky. If they say their moons are getting fucked with when they're trying to make the money, a fleet shows up, they're not able to get the money out of it, what happens in that case?
You're asking me. Okay, so
like all right, so
I would tell you that I'm like a PvP dude, so you're like asking me about industrial and mining shit, but
that's a good point. I forgot I brought all the FCs on here.
As far as I'm aware, like, our moon mining stuff isn't fully finalized yet. We have to figure out, like, we'll be spending the day like everyone else with like 1 billion moon miners out spamming probes. But our philosophy as it comes to PvE stuff is generally whatever is the least amount of overhead and admin work, but is still fair to as many people involved as possible. That's kind of because we're a PvP alliance, like. And we have PvE stuff because people will inevitably want that, but we try not to focus too hard on it, or at least not to spend too many resources on it.
Yeah, I just got an image, by the way, from Eve Dublin, which is currently in progress. They're watching this show on a big screen because they wanted to watch.
What up, guys?
Yeah, so Eve Dublin just gave us a shout out, and they also sent us a picture here, which I'm going to show on screen right now.
Dope.
This is all the people from Eve Dublin who wanted to say hi, so that's live on screen at the moment for you guys. So hello, Eve Dublin. Apparently that event, CCP has been talking about it for a while now, so that's going on. And they're all really drunk and watching the meta show. And
as well they should be. If I was going to an Eve meet in Dublin, I would basically Guinness as I could get my hands on, because goddamn.
But this leads to, like, where this war is going. It seemed like the southern part of the war originated back when Tri and CO2 got together and started fighting with FCON and Solar.
What's the objective?
But the northern, it just doesn't feel like there's any point to it all. It just feels like you guys are like, let's show up and kill each other. Yeah.
I wanted to ask Killaby this. Yeah, thank you, Vote, because that was
Yeah.
that was the question I wanted to ask. Was Killaby, like, you guys you're dropping on Pravi. You guys have gotten involved relatively recently. This is a thing that's been going for a while. What is the objective, if you can say? Like, I don't know if it's public or not. Normally, objectives are public in wars, right? So, like, what is PL doing in this war? Are you guys trying to take a region, help somebody take a region? What's the point?
So the only time we've showed up there now to help was to get up this Fortizar, and the main reason, at least I decided to show up for that, there was a lot of people in PL that didn't want to go to that because it, was pretty clear it was going to be a pretty big tie-dye shit fest, and generally people in PL don't like that. But we saw what the DCU and the DRF responded with when the Keepstar was dropped, and we knew that for this, they were obviously not going to respond just as big because it was just a Fortizar, but it was still an important beachhead for GOTG. So we figured there were going to be a lot of frags. That's why I took the Supers and Titans there. I'm not planning on getting involved in any of the Zoff timers or anything. So far, my objective has been just getting frags out of it. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of what Sword wants to do, I mean, there's no GOTG representative here right now, but as far as I can at least tell, Sword has been trying to get content, or at least, he's been saying he wants to get content for a long time now, because he's been stuck, quote unquote, in decline with his coalition for a while, and I think that he's testing the waters, how far he can go, what he can do with his coalition, how far they can stretch away from home without it falling apart or something like that. I think this is something they could be looking at, and drones obviously is a very nice target for that, because it's actually fairly close to their home, because you can
very close. If they can't stretch to drones, then they might as well disband, because they'll never.
This is
actually
coming...
I'm curious. Yeah, like I want to hear what from the people who are involved in this mess. I mean, the reason why it seems like there is an objective and people just aren't clearly stating it is, like, you don't fucking throw away a Keepstar just for frags or for content, and that's exactly what happened with Darkness. So I mean, is that what you think is going on?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I think it's pretty clear what's going on. I mean, Sword Dragon has always been like this. He's just an emotional leader who doesn't really think things through, and he's retaliating for XIX letting us stage out of MTO. I mean, I thought that didn't he say that when he announced it?
Well, see, so this is the stated reason. The stated reason is some diplomat in DRF caused him a problem, and the testing on top of that became an excuse for them to invade. The Fortizar they blew up on Thursday was the one that they gave you. That went back to XX when you guys left. But the interesting thing about it, it's a very, very small, I guess you could say, leash that they could, they can't really run with that very far, because I believe you were the one that told me, ProGod, you can confirm on this or someone else can, that the only deal you had with going up there to fight GOTG was you couldn't hit their solve. So it wasn't like it was an invasion. You're just there to have fun.
We could poke their Saab, so we couldn't take their Saab, but we could RF a couple things to get a fight, which I think is pretty common these days. Right. People don't really just roam anymore; they hit things to get timers.
Right, and that's what XX told me. It's like, we did not allow them to do anything serious; they can only have fun, right?
That's
for
true.
Sword to use that as his excuse, and then he had another excuse. Oh, this Diplo is shit. Well, that Diplo quit like 3 weeks ago. And they're still in MTO staged, right? They're in a Fortizar. They just killed a Fortizar Thursday. So it's hard to put what Sword's going with this. And then on top of it, it just feels flimsy, right? It feels flimsy at best. It feels like he's trying to get money out of this.
Let's ask somebody who's involved with it. I mean, Garst, again, I keep going back to you. Like, how, and also I'd be curious, and Antar, like, how closely are you guys working? It would be Garst here. It would be potentially on the side with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, have you guys had how closely are you guys working with Sword Dragon here? Is it a common thing, or is there a liaison? What is the integration?
I can definitely answer that, because
Please.
Tri would show up at every single big timer to help them out. I haven't seen too much, Garst, you can correct me, Darkness coming down to help you, but you've definitely done your part in the north, right?
They showed up in like Raptors or Serbs or something like one time. Like, let's put
You were there in Loki's. You were there in Loki's.
Oh
for
yeah,
the,
Loki's made a big difference in that 2,000 man local. Looks, I mean, if there's too far apart, two sides with like 1,000 people each in local, it's not going to be determined by Tri showing up with 80 guys in Loki's or something like that. So the answer to your question is some loose coordination. Obviously, we're aligned doing the same thing, so we'll help them where we can. But they have their own war. We have their own war. The Europe's so big, it's kind of merged into one war. But at the end of the day, we're both doing our own objectives, our own campaign.
How much territory do you guys think that, if Darkness did have a realpolitik objective in this, Guardians of the Galaxy, what regions would they be looking to hold if they won against the DRF?
I think that's a false premise to begin with. What makes you say they want to hold anything?
Yeah, I'm about to release some.
That's what
links.
Progon was suggesting a few minutes ago. So I'm just trying to follow that through to try to find a logical. There's a lot of hardware going into this war, and people are pissing it away in an era where their budgets are also fucked and they don't have a plan. So that means
there's a lot of hardware in this war because you have to have that to win. The numbers are so big involved on both sides. You can't half-ass it. You're just getting a blue ball every time if you don't full commit.
So what really bothers me, sorry to interrupt, that Eve News 24 posted every single news story for last month except the biggest fight of them all. Right? The Keepstar dying is not on Eve News 24. So them saying that this is like a petty thing and they don't care, why don't you put up that news story? I don't understand.
So I have a good reason for that. My source in Eve News 24 land says that they only put articles up they're paid to put up. For example, they were paid to the sum of almost 100 billion ISK by XIX to post favorable articles for XIX. When XIX is like, screw you, we're not paying you anymore, they stopped running articles for the XIX and started running articles against XIX and started getting paid by people at GOTG. I got logs and transaction amounts.
Who pays for
I don't even know.
Articles? That's so dumb.
I have a link. I have screenshots of it.
Message to anybody. You can pay me ISK, and I will say favorable things about your alliance. I 100%. I will tweet about it. I will shoot in on RE for you. Whatever
that's
you
amazing.
Need.
Yeah, so 24 traffic is like dog shit. If people are actually doing that, you can. This is a shameless plug. If you want to get coverage of your war, you can use the submit an article function on Imperium News, and we will run your battle report for free. You don't have to pay us. We'll say, here is somebody doing a battle report from the perspective of Legion of Death.
I have one from the Keepstar, actually.
Just the user submission thing. We get a couple user submissions every week on INN, and we are happy to run both sides in this conflict, and we get a shitload more traffic than you do 24.
Before I moved
so it doesn't have to cost you anything.
Yeah, before I moved to the Keepstar fight.
Apparently your carrier is drifting on a tether.
No, I docked.
Okay, before we go to the Keepstar fight, which is our next subject about this war in the north, I just got my guy in the Guardians of the Galaxy is telling me that he's an FC there. He says they're not wanting the space; they're hoping to destabilize the renters so that they can gobble up more renters.
I can guarantee you that is more thought that went into their decision-making process than actually happened. There was. I mean, you guys are assuming so much about these people.
I'm assuming they're competent. Let's put it that way. All right, we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy here, okay? I'm assuming that they have an objective and they're going for it, and there's a plan. And it really does sound like they don't. And that's what leads me to this Keepstar thing. I just linked it in chat here, and I want to know right away from you guys. You all can talk about this. I'll shut up. But what the fuck? Why would you drop a Keepstar when you could drop maybe a Fortizar and get the same quality out of it?
They wanted the element of surprise more than anything. That's why they needed the 24-hour timer.
The really weird thing that I can't get my head around is why did they drop it in MTO? If the Keepstar died and it went wrong and XIX super bombed you would have lost your entire fucking super
paper
fleet.
tiger. They really believed it. A paper tiger apparently is something where you totally just burn it whenever you want, right? But it looks fearsome. So I guess that's untrue now.
I mean, XIX didn't go in after the Keepstar died. I expected XIX to drop their super fleet on DR on Darkness, but cowards gonna be cowards.
Their super fleet's not in range.
Our supers are
they're like 5 fucking regions away.
Yeah, that's
you had 24 hours to move them. If you really wanted to fight, you would have moved them.
We didn't need them. I mean, we knew
300 breaths or
Kill the
something.
Keepstar. Like, come on.
I think. Can I say something about this?
Yeah, please go. Yes.
I think the reason he dropped the Keepstar is because if it would have worked, it would have been a huge thing, and he would have been called a huge baller and everything. I mean, that's a big PR stunt, and no offense, but and I think if I mean now that it didn't work, it's obviously easy to say, oh, we didn't care about it anyways. Obviously, it was shit for them to lose it. Like,
yeah,
sure, that hurts.
Were you invited, KB? Why don't you tell us if you were invited for the timer?
Well, he didn't really invite anyone beforehand. He sort of just like linked the picture. Hey guys, by the way, I dropped this Keepstar 24 hours. Let's go, boys. And obviously, he dropped it in an impossible time zone for people to do anything
that
about it.
sounds like a coalition channel.
No,
that sounds like it's
yeah, like let's go, boys. We're all on the same team here.
Yeah,
we're all on the same team.
Come on, PL, get up here. Let's go.
I mean, let's be real. Like, you guys, the whole like meme tier FC generation of this game are all kind of chilling together. Between PL and CDOT and Tri and GOTG, and even if you're not technically working together, you definitely are. So I mean, let's just drop the whole rhetoric.
No, I mean, there's a Discord that we use for coordination. There's this. It's called F1
oh, really?
or whatever. Yeah, but is that really a surprise? I mean, you have a Discord with Pravi and other groups.
I don't have a Discord with Pravi. I'll sit on a Skype call with Gentam for that.
All right. So basically, he dropped us the screenshot, and then well, I told him, well, we can't really do anything about that in that time zone, right? Because it was right before downtime, and PL effectively has no AUTZ. We have like 30 dudes that play in AUTZ. They do like Naga roamings or some shit like that. So it's there was really nothing we could do at that time. The fort was dropped at a better time, so we could show up for that. But like I said, I mean, it's no secret, yes, that we are definitely friends with GOTG, right? That's obviously no secret. We're not blue to them, but we all know
blue
being blue or not being blue doesn't really matter. Exactly. Yeah, blue trills is pretty good. So with GOTG, that's no secret because we are sort of in the whole this whole north.
Is it a secret though
thing.
that we bought MTO and the neighboring regions from PL, and you actually violated an agreement by letting that Fortizar anchor? Was that
that was a thing.
I mean,
then
spicy. We'll gladly deal with the consequences of the agreement that we violated. If there was any agreement in place that anyone in PL cared about, I'm sure like Elise or someone or Graf would have come to me and told me like not to do anything, and they didn't give a shit about it. So I'm sure everything's fine. In fact, I can prove. I actually did talk to Elise before I went there because obviously I'm aware of these sort of agreements that have existed in the past or might still exist or whatever. And I went to Elise the day before the Fortizar came out, and I asked him, hey Elise, I was going to show up to this Fortizar timer tomorrow, and I'm going to go shoot XIX and co to get frags and just sit on the fort. And he said, or he asked me, hey, who were you going to shoot? And I said, yeah, I'm going to shoot XIX. I'm going to work with Short Dragon. And then he said, yeah, it's fine, go for it. So if you have any issues with that, I'm sure Kara or XDEF can hit that up with Elite.
I know of an agreement, but that's all them about.
That's fine, Antar. But like I said, let's just let the leaders sort that out. I think.
Yeah. See.
Well, I mean, aren't you? I mean, this is a thing like that.
This is
I think I know the agreement you're talking about because when that sale was transacted,
right.
when all of the bot stuff was sold to the DRF, so essentially that was a treaty that was brokered, if memory serves correctly, like almost 2 years ago now.
I wasn't even in PL back then.
Yeah, it was 3 years, is what I was told.
And when PL basically sold all that to Legion of Death, and so you guys are you saying, Antar, like from the perspective of the DRF, that PL has violated the exclusion zone?
I would assume so. I haven't looked at the agreements. I just know of one, but them actually trying to invade drones would presume that's a violation.
So,
I mean,
if there is agreement in place, it's probably a violation. Well,
I mean, this is pretty standard operating procedure for PL, though. I mean, they do this all the time.
So the question I have, though, without trying to think shit, I'm serious question. I asked this of a friend of mine. What does that do at Botlord? Because it's run by a PL guy and a Lady Scarlet. I mean, do they get kicked out of the drones now that the DRF's like, hey, you guys fucked this up? Like, what happens now?
In charge of it. They have their own Diplo thing with dealing of it.
Okay.
There's like a whole bot is like a whole different thing now where Lady Scarlet just runs the whole thing. I'm not even sure if PL gets a cut of that. I think
Right, because
they
I
get
saw
cut of everything else.
all the bot income goes to NC Dot.
Yeah, because I saw NC Dot showing up. They came with Gillas during the fight. I believe they came with another fleet during another fight. Like, they've been showing up to help the GOTG. Like, isn't that a violation of your guys' like deal?
They didn't bring a Super and Titan fleet and swing the fight though.
Yeah, exactly. Like, obviously, you know, if somebody shows up in like I don't know how big the Gila fleet was. It was probably pretty small. I don't think that's big enough to you know, cause any big trouble. But our presence there was obviously more significant than just, you know, a bunch of Gilas.
But if NC has an agreement with the DRF to protect each other, you know, like a
I
defensive
was
pact, as you will.
That they weren't coming. Then I see 75 Gilas. I'm kind of mad about that too, but
Yeah, but does it really matter if you are mad, Antar? I mean, at the end of the day, like it's all about Kara and XDev, the people that actually make the calls in the DRF, right? So, and I know that Vince and Kara and
they're all friends,
XDev are all in steady contact.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that there has been talking happening, and I'm sure they'll be fine with it or not, and we'll see. Like I said, I think when it comes to these decisions, it's not really whether or not you make the right choice. It's just about you know, dealing with the consequences that you end up getting, and I'm sure that we are ready to do that.
Yeah, but
well, when you were thinking about Killa, I mean, you yourself asking Elise for permission to go attack the DRF, did you think about that when you did that?
Yeah, of course. But you know, I know Elise believes in the independence of DFCs and PL, and if he would have had any strong, like, obviously, for example, right now, if I would go and say, Elise, hey Elise, I'm gonna go shoot NC Dot, right? He'll probably say, no, don't do that. But I went to him and say, hey, can I go shoot XIX? It's one of those few things where I actually went to Elise and asked, because it's actually one of those things where I was never really sure what kind of agreements there was in place, and I never really care because we never really had anything to do with the people over there, right? So I never really went to Elise, but there was the one time I went to Elise and asked him, hey, is there any problem with me going there and shooting XIX? And he responded to me and he said, well, if you want to go do it, go ahead and do it. There's no problem, so I just assumed there's no problem. Yeah. And like I said, if there is, then we'll deal with that.
I mean, is Elise really, like, I mean, we've seen a lot of drama coming up on Reddit recently regarding PL.
PL leadership.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I mean, Elise is, you know, our nickname for him was always Snake Randolph, but if you actually got the guy to sign in blood on something, you know, we're all attorneys, Elise and I.
Yeah.
He would stick to it. So it seems unusual to me that he would authorize you to break an agreement that has been in progress for several years now, which brings up, you know, we've had this drama with Capri Sun and Doom Chinchilla and all this Ron Mexico stuff that has just exploded. You know, can you give us, you're still in PL, you're still active in PL. What's your perspective on that? Is this AFK leadership charge accurate? What the fuck, basically?
Shadu held a presentation on how PL is operated back, I think it was at FanFest 2013 or something, and that structure is still in place. We have an alliance leadership, or basically we have the two heads of PL, right? We have Grath, who's head number 1, and we have Elise, who's head number 2. And Grath mostly deals with internal affairs. He makes sure that everybody's happy within the alliance. As you guys know, there's plenty of nice Grath rages out there. He has a very, very special way of making sure everybody's happy. And Elise is sort of, like you said, we still call him Snake. Actually, we have a Discord emoji. When in our Discord you write the Snake emoji, it actually pings Elise Randolph. So that is still in place. So Elise is sort of in charge of, you know, making sure on a high level, making sure that the foreign relations are set. And then we have campaign commanders who are sort of I guess you can compare it to military directors in other establishments. They're basically in charge of the whole PvP operations in PL. They decide where is PL deployed. They decide what does PL do, who's PL blue with, what happens basically, the day-to-day.
So are you the campaign commander for this current thing?
In the current situation in PL, I'm not the campaign commander. I've been the campaign commander of PL for the entirety of 2016, and right now it's mostly Headliner, who was returned at the end of 2016. Headliner is not really involved in the whole northern thing up there. But I talked to Headliner. I posted my fleet for Supers and Titans. I told Headliner, hey, Headliner, I'm going to go shoot these people around there. And he didn't disagree, so there was no issue with me going up there. That's how it goes. In terms of, do you want me to respond to the like whole what happened on Reddit? I can do it briefly.
Please.
Yeah. I can do it very briefly. So the whole story of adversity is very interesting, because the whole like adversity leaving Tissue and then adversity became blue to PL, and we sort of gave them a trial time of a couple months where they were blue to us. They could join all our fleets, but they were not actually in PL yet. And in that period of time, they did fit in quite well. And then when they joined, it started out quite nicely. But towards the end, there was some drama between some people in adversity, the core of adversity, I guess you could call them, and some individuals in PL. And those just kept escalating. I wasn't really involved. I personally never really had an issue with adversity. Some of their memes and some of the stuff they said and did was weird, and I don't know, but I never really had any problems with any of the adversity guys. Actually, I got along with Capri, for example, really well, and I still do. Like, I'm cool with Capri. We did a lot of stuff together when you guys were north and attacked us. But there was mostly some other leadership people that had issues with adversity, and that just sort of just escalated until they left. In terms of what adversity claimed in the huge Reddit post, especially the post by Capri, obviously that was the most detailed one in terms of he kind of broke down what happened in PL. There's some things to it. Like, I'm not going to say it's all wrong. There's definitely some things in there that he said that are to some extent true, but you got to understand at that point they claimed they weren't mad that they got kicked, but then they stir up all the shit because they got kicked, so it kind of implies they're at least a little bit mad. So there's also some exaggeration in there, try to make us look bad. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter too much to us because we don't really care.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go.
So yeah, I read some of those posts in that thread, and so I'm curious, like, did the dreads and faxes that y'all just lost, like, do those get SRP'd?
Yes, those get SRP'd. These
so that's changed now.
No, that has always been like that. These SRP claims.
So was that a lie in that thread then?
That was not true. Yes, that is correct.
So it's not true that I mean, let's go to the specifics. Like, arguing about who is mad on the internet is sort of silly because everybody involved in a conflict like this is going to be mad on the internet. But one of the things that was interesting about this drama, I've linked it here for people to update themselves, was that Capri actually made a bunch of very specific accusations about how things are going in PL. And one of the things he said was that there's minimal Dread SRP and that they tell everybody to use T1 guns despite being short on numbers. ProGod, I guess you could just check the lost mails of all the PL Dreads you just killed to see.
There was a lot of T1 guns. There was a lot of T1 guns. We were already talking about it. Like, about.
Okay. So, do you guys, Killa, how do you react to the, is that true that you guys...
That is not the T1... go ahead.
The price of T2 guns is pretty, it's like 600 mil per gun, so, I mean...
Yeah. So the reason we go for T1 or T2 guns in these bigger sort of engagements is because when it comes to a certain scale, the difference between T2 guns and T1 guns isn't that significant, or at least it's insignificant enough for us to sacrifice. Like, unlike the popular belief that PL has infinite money, we still try to work economically, or is I don't know if that's the right word. We try to
be efficient.
Yeah,
so don't you guys have a lot of money?
Yeah, efficient.
You're just saying earlier that your winter money is going up. Shouldn't that be able to afford this?
Yeah, but we also like to save up money, and I mean, on the other hand, like I said, what I was about to say, when it gets to a certain scale, the difference between T1 guns and their T1 and T2 guns in terms of the outcome of the fight and their cost is just not, like, it came to a point where we decided collectively as a like SCFC team or whatever, I guess, whatever you want to call it, that we just wanted to go with, for the bigger fights, we go for T1 guns. And then there was some engagements where we really needed the T2 guns, for example. There was
in smaller fights when you have less dreads, T2 guns really make up the difference in DPS. But
yeah.
After more than 50-60 dreads, you might as well use T1
guns. For you guys that are so rev heavy, I mean, the big thing about T2 guns is you get Scorch, so you can't get out dropped. I mean, if y'all are all T1 guns and someone counter dropped you at 100 kilometers. That
Yeah,
was
if that ever happens, then we'll deal with that when time has come.
Yeah.
What range
I
is
just-
that?
Another one of these, regardless, I mean, I think that there's a reasonable argument that at scale there's a lack of efficiency in the T2.
Exactly. So that's basically why we went with T1 there.
Yeah.
One of the things that Capri Sun did make an argument that is very curious is, we've talked a lot about the PL renter system and how people are adapting to income situations using renters. One of the things that Capri says is that PL members have to rent systems from their own alliance. Is that an accurate statement that Capri made?
We have basically all our space that we claim. PL has never been a self-holding alliance, so we had to kind of adapt to the whole situation. What we did is we look at the amount of people we have crabbing, ratting, that means. So we look at how many people are in PL are actually interested in ratting, what the supply and what the demand is of systems, and we basically that was still when we were still in Tribute, when Test was still in Vale and we were just done sort of kicking CO2 out. That's when we sort of started ratting really, and it wasn't two systems, it was in TRCan and then OTECO and Tribute, and we saw that basically with two systems the alliance was sort of saturated in terms of the available amounts of anoms, because most of people actually mine. There's not a lot of ratting going on, so we made two systems, two really good systems in Tino. We made them available for the entire alliance. Everybody can go there for free, no problem at all. But the way it is with these, I mean, I'm sure you guys with bigger ratting demand, you have some nice crabbing drama from time to time. Some nice, and we all know ratting drama is the best drama. And some of our people try to avoid these ratting related drama in those official alliance rating systems. So there was some groups. We have some groups in PL that formed. For example, most of us is some of the FCs, some other people, just like basically a group of people that decided we don't want to rat in the alliance systems because I don't know, the Arcanauts.
Because you only have two alliance free for all systems for PL and TNL. That's it, and everything else.
Yeah, but that's
members.
enough. That's enough. Yeah, then that's mostly enough. And then we decided, hey, some of us want to be more efficient with the money we make, so we decided we rent a system, and it was like not the alliance telling us, hell, we need to. I mean, if we wanted to.
Capri is right. To answer the question, Capri said that you in PL members rent systems from the alliance because now you're saying there's only two. There's only two free for all systems for PL, and everybody else has to. That's what Capri. We're trying to verify what Capri was saying.
Okay,
the drama
so
from Killa.
If you break it down, yes.
Okay, that's excellent. That's good to know. So the rental money. So actually, this is we're going a little bit late, but we've got 1,000 people watching this. So
this is a really important topic, though.
Hold on.
Okay.
We've been talking a lot about PL renting, and so here's the question: is when you're looking at your distribution of income. Now, you don't have to tell us this, but this is just weird because in the Imperium, everybody rats and mines everywhere, and there's no distinctions, there's no anything. So whatever. PL's rental income, I thought it was PL's rental income from like random fucking puppies and stuff like that, but from what this sounds like, if what Capri said is true, you've just verified, how much of the PL rental income is actually from outside sources, or is it just like tax harvesting on your own members?
Sorry, can you ask that again? Like,
how much of the money that PL is making from renting, because we were talking about that earlier in the show.
Oh, it's from our own members?
Actually coming from renters as opposed to PL members renting from PL.
Out of all the systems we own, like the entirety of all, like Tribute, Tino, and the part of Vale that we own, we have 3 systems rented out to Alliance members. Individual or groups. You gotta understand, it's not one person that rents the system. We have, I guess it's like a car pool. It's like a rent pool, right? The rent for the system is 8 bill. We have 20 dudes. If everybody pays 400 mil a month, and we're done. And we have 3 systems rented to individual groups like that.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we could pull in an extra 600 bill if we adopted this.
I know that's actually a crazy amount of money that could be generated in Goon Space. But I got one last thing about the war before I'm done for my talking for the day, and this just came in from a friend. I was told that Sword Dragon had to seek Elise's permission before he could do the MTO situation in order to gain their support for what was going to go down. Elise told him he was fine to go ahead and do it. And that kind of lines up with what was said by Killer B a moment ago. I mean, is that something you heard about, Killer B, or is that like a revelation?
No, I mean, like I said, I was never aware of any talks between Sword and Elise. I always assume, right? I'm just a person like everybody else. So whenever there's something going on, I assume that there's some sort of communication going on beforehand, because I did not assume that Sword Dragon would make a move like that, especially on a group like the DRF. I don't think the DRF is a paper tiger at all, personally, for example. But I thought it was kind of a weird move, and I don't think he would have done that without at least, I don't know if you would call it ask for permission, but at least talk to Elise maybe first. But I wasn't part of those
for the
talks,
record, Test Intel got that same information.
Yeah, so this came from...
We heard that as well from separate sources.
Celine might be able to comment on this, because Celine said that he talked to Gobbins at eVegas, and that's when MC got involved. Well, no, I mean, like, you talked to someone...
Well, Gobbins is on our side. Gobbins is on our side.
But,
they're hired by XDev.
Apparently this Sword Dragon, I guess Sword Dragon was at Vegas. Mittens, you might be able to comment on this.
Yeah, he was there.
And I heard that, like, him and Elise talked in person, and that's when this deal went down. It's like, hey, we're going to go invade the drones. You got any problems with that? And he's like, yeah, no, go ahead. So I'm curious, like...
I wasn't in Vegas, so I don't know. But yeah, maybe Celine.
This is why I need to go to Vegas.
I heard it happened in Vegas. I heard it happened in Vegas too. So.
Okay.
A lot of interesting things happened.
This is so good. Yeah. I love this
Unfortunately,
game.
not for me this year. I was just really high because we was.
Well, I mean, we talked about it last week.
Isn't that fun too? Like, sort of. I like that. I like the idea of people actually meeting up in real life to like make these kind of agreements. I think that's kind of a cool part about it.
I remember back in the day, I took a whole bunch of saw from a group called White Noise because Mittens quartered me into a room and was like, so Boat, are you ready to invade someone? Actually, it was.
I would never do such a thing. Celine, you were about to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say is that it was Sword was talking to a lot of folks, but the only signal I got about something about to go really crazy was Lady Scarlet getting kind of an evil, staring at her phone through one presentation, and then getting an evil smile on her face. Like, holy shit, some stuff's about to go fucking crazy up north. And then I had about 30 minutes later, I had some these guys.
Who's
Lady Scarlet. Lady
Scarlet. Yeah.
So she must have been looking at that same Discord channel that Killa was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Which totally isn't there. They totally don't have a...
I have no idea. But then a few minutes later, these guys from what the heck was it? They live up there. Divinity.
Yeah, those guys.
Those guys. So two of them had come over and talked to us about 30 minutes later about taking a contract up there to do like some work to maybe help defend against some possible like incursions from GOTG. And it was like, okay, 1 + 1 = what? What the hell is going on? And then literally the next day, like a day or two later, everything went fucking bananas. And so that was, But that was really the only...
We say this war was planned at the Vegas pool party.
Yeah, it sounds
like
it. Sounds like that's the thing. We're running out of time here. Like we're really we went longer than I thought.
We can take some questions here from people who are watching. We do have almost 1,000 people watching this, so I imagine that there's some folks that want to ask around. But I want to start going around to our guests because we sort of in a more formal way. I just want to get predictions as to how people think this shit show is going to go down. And I'd like to start with, let's go to Garst. I mean, now that all the pieces are on the chessboard, where do you see this war in a month?
Probably not too different from what it is right now, to be honest. I think the number of people involved, the number of the game mechanics involved is really just going to keep it, it's going to be hard to make a big push one way or the other. But
I mean, that's the thing with the current game mechanics, right, Garst? Like, they're so defensively, they're so slanted towards defense. Or at least with the Fortizar mechanic.
No, you're not wrong.
Well, let's go to ProGod then. ProGod, where do you see things in about a month?
In a month?
Or longer. I mean, you can basically just give us a prediction of where do you see this war going.
Think about in the context of blood expansions coming, so the Citadels are changing.
Oh no, just let me answer the question.
Well, like, I don't think that's going to matter too much. I think, like, in a month, I don't think too much will change. Long term, like a 3-month horizon, it depends. Like, can FCON live longer than GOTG can stay deployed? If FCON can live longer than GOTG can stay deployed, then our side will probably win. If GOTG can stay deployed longer than FCON can live, then they'll probably win.
Why does the war begin or end with FCON?
Because I mean, FCON's the main front right now. I mean, it's the FCON Triumvirate front, and then the GOTG DRF front. So if before GOTG did their deployment, like Tri was slowly getting surrounded as the main drone land alliances and all that were slowly moving in. Now the drone land alliances that Manny is organizing have to defend up there. So if GOTG has to go back to their space for whatever reason, or mainly if they have to bring their cap fleet back across the MTOHD moat, then the drone land alliances, not only will that front no longer be open, but GOTG did, as you guys learned in the Catch War by doing that big op in F4R2, they solidified what was a very young, unorganized coalition. Now, by the time GOTG gets finished with them, they're going to be forming 400-man fleets daily, and then those 400-man fleets are going to shift and come south into Triumvirate space behind Triumvirate. So I think the lines are very clearly drawn. It's all pretty basic now. It's going to come down to who can last longer on each front.
That brings up an interesting question that I forgot to ask earlier. Thank you, ProGod, for reminding me. One of the big players that has popped up, of course, is Manny with Hooligans, who's fighting on the side of the DRF. And I wanted to ask Killa B, what is it like to be fighting against Manny and his crew now?
I mean, it feels good. The first engagement I had with him, he wiped his abandoned fleet 20 of my Titans, and I bossed his entire fleet off. So if that's how this conflict's gonna go, then I'm looking forward to it.
Is it real? I mean, I thought, like, when I first saw reports that Manny was going to be fighting.
Manny's back.
Yeah. He's seriously.
Killa, what you got?
Well, like I said, I think personally, I'm not really afraid of him.
Killa, where were you last time? I'm trying to remember. Were you in Nully when we were in the Halloween War yet?
No, I was in Black Legion during the Halloween War still, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know Manny ran most of the cap ops back then, but he also was in charge of BTEC-R. So, like I said, I'm not afraid of Manny.
Right. That's
Manny would have been here today, but he's busy watching Mizzou get beat live.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's definitely a wrinkle in this.
We're playing different time modes, though, so I don't think I'll meet him too often, sadly.
A very long time PLFC actively fighting on the side of the DRF against. So we're going to move this over to Antar. Speaking of the DRF, where do you see things in a month or in 3 months? How do you think this thing is going to go down?
Well, I think everyone's kind of right. Garst hit it on the nose with the forts. It's really hard to kill forts when you have, let's say, 100 supers or something like that show up randomly, extra supers. So,
or 2,000 blues, whatever.
Yeah, it makes it a little harder. So because of that, and Garst, I think, what do you have, like 15 forts in a keep star, right? It's kind of hard to kill all that. If we could manage that, pretty sure it'll swing in our favor. But defensive mechanics are huge, and unless they actually decide to, go to better pastures, this is going to be a long war.
I mean, this is the war you guys chose. You're trying to prop up FCON. We both know FCON is as good as dead. Why do you give a shit about them?
Why are you so mad that people are signing up to shoot FCON? I mean, this is the war you guys wanted.
Why are you hating? You're the one that likes to fight. You're the one that said, hey, we need more fights.
Why are you always saying I'm mad, ProGod? I can't even ask a question. You're saying I'm mad. Look, bro, I'm happy to fight anybody in this game.
We weren't talking about XIX propping up FCON and how terrible that is until you brought it up. So that's why I think you were mad about it. Because
you said 2 minutes ago. You said 2 minutes ago this entire war hinges on what happens to the mighty FCON.
So that's just like the actual facts behind it, the straight up strategic facts on the ground.
The only fact is I'm gonna kill FCON, whether it takes 2 months or it takes 6 months. Eventually you're gonna fuck off and FCON's gonna die. That's all I know, bro.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Oh, definitely.
I doubt they die if they win a war. Nobody.
They're not going to win a war because they can't get rid of us. They live next to Curse. It is physically impossible to ever stop Tri from attacking them. Ever.
All right, so what you're saying is, just so we confirm, after you lose all your space, you're just going to live in Curse.
Who is going to live in our space, ProGod? Are you going to move Tess into my space?
No,
you think Razor Alliance is going to take my space? Maybe FCON or Solar? Who is going to take my space and live
I know the current agreement right now is to rent your space out after it's gone.
Okay, so I'm sure the renters will stop Tri. Good answer. We will not take our space back.
You can fight for Scalding Pass all your life. That'll be great. You can be like Stain was in Stain. You can be like Stainwagon in Stain, where they just retreat the Curse and then come back, and retreat the Curse and come back.
And yeah, it's going to be a long war.
Curse wagon.
So, one question though that I'm glad that Garst and Progod mentioned FCON. Is it true that for a while there, FCON was actually like paying? Like I heard a rumor that FCON had been paying Triumvirate long before this conflict, but paying off Triumvirate to keep them from killing them. Is that? Can you speak to that?
No, it's half true. The Kids with Guns Alliance and OMIST paid a ransom to basically everybody around them. We attacked FCON, and they forwarded that ransom basically from FCON to us.
So Kids with Guns was paying FCON, and then they started paying you instead of FCON?
They pay for things for everybody because they're basically a giant RMT bot alliance, so they pay for NIPS for all around them. That's just what it is.
Gotcha.
So, real quick, Antar, this question is directed at you because as you said, where do you see this in a month? Is GOTG going to get invaded over this? Like, is this like, hey, if we push them out, they go home, are we going to return the favor? Because, I mean, the last time the North invaded the drones, it didn't really go so well.
That's what led to the fall of the North, the original coalition.
Right.
So they invaded the drones, and then the drones came to them. Is there going to be, is there going to be a counterstrike, as Boat says?
I'll be for real with this answer, and I'm gonna hate this answer because if it was up to me, fuck yeah. But DRF tends to be diplomatic, let's just say. So I don't know.
So they tend to buy off the people they don't want to fight.
It's not about buying off. It's about having relationships and all that shit. Because with this huge amount of space, if you didn't notice, DRF has the most amount of space in EVE, right?
Yeah.
You kind of need to make friends more than fights, right? So with all the fights going on, I don't know. I hope so.
I should watch my presentation at Amsterdam about powers in EVE Online. I'll talk on that topic.
Oh, well, that is one of the things that
these rules. You can have Sov or you can have fun.
That's right. You can either have Sov or fun because Fozzie. Oh, that is one of the things. Like,
okay.
I'm sorry. You go.
All right. So I think fun is differently defined for different people, right? I think the people that are renting in the drone space and are just ratting there all day long, I think they're having fun. I think for us as PvP core, like I guess all of our goals are doing PvP. All the people that we have here. I think for us PvP is fun. I think for the high sec dude running level 4 missions, all that's fun. So I think that the DRF is supplying their members with the fun that they want, which is safe, fairly safe ratting space. I think that will work out for them. I mean, it's been working out for them a while. Like Antar said, they have a huge amount of space. They have a shit pile of fucking renters, like a whole lot.
Yeah, I just got this PM to me, and I didn't know this up until this moment, so this kind of sucks. But apparently, someone is invading the drones through Ethereum Breach from Caldari Losec. They just took LXQ2 station, which is the entrance, and had freeported it. And
actually,
what is going on with this?
Yeah, so there's a little like a nullsec Shalupin or something.
Oh my god, nullsec Shalupin.
Right,
yeah.
Those guys. Oh,
those guys are
like,
hilarious.
those are like half PL or something stupid, or I don't know what the
yeah, right.
over there.
So apparently,
there are a lot of XPL people in there, yeah.
Ursha Khan is being the ones fighting against them for that.
But basically, for every big timer, Snuffbox shows up and turns the tide with T3 Lokis or some shit. So we're actually losing sometimes because of the Snuffbox. The surprise 20 to 50 Lokis that show up for any kind of like decent engagement. They just killed a fort a few days ago of Army of Eden that was anchoring. So that's continuing because of the Snuffbox thing. Otherwise, they'd be dead in the water right now.
Okay.
That is a very interesting scenario. One of the things that kept the drone region safe for so long was after Vuk Lao, leading the Northern Coalition, invaded Solar Fleet and White Noise territory in the Northeast. The backlash of White Noise coming in and taking Branch and just nuking the Northern Coalition kept anybody from trying to fight a war with the DRF for many years. So even though the DRF themselves didn't, they did have part of that campaign. Obviously, White Noise took a fucking region out of it, but they did hire a shitload of mercenaries and people to punish the Northwest for daring to invade the drone regions. So while Antar diplomatically is saying that everybody just wants to be friends, one of the things is that death hasn't changed. The people who are in the DRF, the number of the autocrats, the people who are actually doing stuff over there, that you can have some faces change, some don't. So I would be shocked if there was no consequences of this, particularly because Killaby just admitted a few minutes ago that they, flagrantly violated the agreement with Pandemic Legion. So we'll see. Let's ask a few other people, though. We're going to wrap the show up after we get to the end of this. Let's hear from Avarin, who is, of course, a Horde mercenary working on behalf of the DRF. How do you see things going down for the next while?
First of all, it's Avarin. You said a bitch.
Avarin, sorry.
Thank you. I mean, I think if you're saying, like, what does this look like in a month?
Or 3 months. Take your pick. Answer it however you feel.
Any time, I think you're going to have to pick which day, who's going to have flipped which 1x ADM iHubs. Like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of space for... And I feel this way in general, that if you are not taking space to actually live in it, like, you're going to have a rough time holding it for long term if the people who you're evicting actually want to stay there. So, I don't know. I don't think that, like, I'm not sure how successful Guardian's campaign is going to be if their plan is, like, to install renters or something, because, what are they going to do after that?
That's a very mature and reasonable perspective. I can totally see that. Garst gave us his perspective. Antar's given us his. Celine, what do you think?
I hope this fucking thing lasts for another 6 months. I love it. My SRP wallet's getting bigger.
Your SRP wallet
how is it getting bigger? I'm curious.
How does that work?
They're mercenaries. What are you
that's right.
Oh, that's right. They get paid to do this.
I'm not used to
Cormorants don't cost too much.
Modern MC, so
yeah, it's glorious chaos. I think the entire exchange between Garst and ProGod was worth the price of admission. I mean, the whole thing is fantastic. I love it.
I have to know how what's the going rate for a good mercenary? Because I have Bomber off, and 50-60 bombers apparently could kill max, as we saw in that Fortizar fight.
I just hired some. What are you offering? It depends on your services.
That depends on what Mittens lets me offer. That's the important question.
It totally depends on what the hell it is you're asking folks to do. I mean, it's not just us. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, like, we didn't even bring caps for this right now. I mean, we just brought down a big ass fucking Mac fleet and a whole bunch of other random garbage, and we're just Goblins will ping, or one of the other guys will ping, or we'll ping them. And like a couple days ago, we got into a nice little brawl with Tri over a fort, and there's just been a bunch of other random things. There's some local group called Scourge that keeps dumpstering some of our Feroxes. And
Scourge is pretty good.
Those guys like they travel in little packs of 20 to 30, and if you don't have the numbers, then you got to second guess it. But it's beautiful down here. I mean, I like it. As far as the end result, I think that I don't really understand. Does Sword Dragon really want to own the drone regions? Garst obviously wants to destroy FCON. I think that's been made very clear. But I don't know, in terms of like battle lines being drawn and like who's going to actually live where when it's all said and done. Does anybody really want any more space? That's the question I have.
The question does Darkness want the spaces? Does PR want the space to rent?
Yeah, does anybody want... I mean, here's a question. Like, I mean, my gut feeling is that FCON is, like, this is probably going to be some Weekend at Bernie's shit, as far as that goes. So, I mean, let's just assume here that FCON does die, or can't defend their shit, or whatever. Does anybody really see this thing stopping after FCON is out of the way with all the other invasion vectors? And the fact that
if FCON dies, they'll just move on to Legacy Space.
Really?
Yeah, you will.
Will we test? If I wanted to start a war with Test, we would have started with a war with Test. This is the war you choose. This is the war you chose. My goal is to kill FCON. Not because I care much about FCON, because it's an alliance goal.
Wait. How is this the war that I chose?
Because you deployed to support FCON with your secret bullshit deals with DRF. You could leave tomorrow, and I wouldn't give a shit about Test. Just like I didn't give a shit about Test 3 months ago. This is the war you're maintaining and choosing to be in.
I know.
Day you sit and catch and choose to fight us.
All I said was, after FCON's dead, you guys are going to come hit our space.
We're not. You're so fucking full of shit. But sell whatever narrative you want, bro. Okay. Sell whatever narrative you need.
Also,
why can't we all be friends?
Because they invented bombs, and bombs don't have friends.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that regardless of what happens with FCON,
Who did we miss? Did we miss anyone?
that we'll end up in a scenario where the incursion into the drones from Sword Dragon doesn't really have anything to do with it, whether FCON survives or doesn't. So,
Killer
I agree
Bee,
with
hold
Progod.
on. Killer Bee, how long? A month, 3 months?
Yeah, so
Where are we gonna
it's
be?
kind of funny. I had to kind of smile when Progod stated his opinion because I kind of agree with him that it all kind of breaks down to FCON and how long they can survive. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with what Progod said. I think it's a very defensive game at the moment. The defenders are pretty favored. Fozizov is still 8. Hasn't changed a bit since it was released. Still garbage. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, these fights there's some pretty fun fights happening. So I'm enjoying that. At least there's cap brawls again, and shit like that. So cool. And as long as that keeps going, I'm also happy. Like Celine said, the whole chaos, everything that's happening on Reddit, all this drama, all these deals that are being done or being broken or being whatever. I think that's really good, and I love it. So I think we'll just keep owning, and then we'll see where it leads.
Jay Amazingness.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't
guest.
heard much from Jay. Sorry about that,
Jay.
Jay. What do you think about all of this?
I don't really care. You're all red to me, so fight amongst yourselves. I'm just going to be sitting in Delve mining.
So okay,
that's all we really do.
But serious
Are you going to be
question.
sitting in Rakapass?
Yes, I'm deployed. I am the
you're a low
the
sec
ambassador.
PvPer, right?
Yeah.
So 2 questions before we call up the show, because we did go over a little bit, and Gommel's cool with that. One is CCP snuck this in here, and this is coming this week, guys. Like Bloodline's coming. I'm gonna be hyping the shit out of it all week. Double anchoring timers for Citadels, Lifeblood, Bloodline, Bloodlight, Moon God. I don't even know, like, what the hell. But they're adding double anchor times. So when you first drop a Citadel, there's like the 15-minute window where someone can blow it up. So if you try to sneak one and they have a fleet ready, they can kill your onlining or your anchoring Citadel well before that 24-hour window you have to get ready for. And then there's another anchoring to online it. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's really unimportant because most of the Citadels aren't being scouted the second they are being dropped. They're being scouted whenever, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Obviously, yes, there is that chance that you scout it right when they drop it, or like a minute after they drop it, you can flash form a fleet and you can kill it. That's fine. But I think I don't think it has any big effect at all. I think it's whatever.
Okay,
I think it's a bullshit mechanic they threw in there just to say that they were able to do something. I've only seen 2 times in the last year where, there were literally
nobody's going to
on
contest
grid.
those first 15 minutes without notice.
I think I would, because I have no less than 12 spies in Black Legion.
No, exactly.
All right.
Real quick, before we go, I was also told that we cut off Antar. Antar, do you have anything else you want to add real quick before we go? I don't want to miss an opportunity to talk to our DRF bro.
Well, basically, good luck to everyone in the war. Hope for me, I'm an FC. You know what I mean? So it's like more the merrier with the fights. Gars can bring it, PL can bring it, but let's just let's do what we do and get some content and all that shit. Good luck to everyone.
Yay!
Excellent. This is like the least content war there is, because you don't have people having active fights on a meta show if it's just content. It's nice to see some hate flowing again, though. I gotta say,
I
it feels like
this.
Eve again.
It's been a while.
People are mad. I love it. But anyway, so thank you absolutely to all of our guests. It was a fantastic show. Thank you to Progod for killing Killer Bee's dreads right at the start of the show. And it's really just been up from there. It's been fantastic all the way around. So there's a shitload of you that came. We will see about doing something like this again next week. If you guys keep providing amazing drama in this war as it's going, we'll get the band back together, the band of Blue Trolls.
I gotta move next week. Sorry.
Oh, sorry to hear. Well, don't worry. Billy made a comment right as the show was going. It says, tell Brogod to pass fleet boss and stop being on the fucking show. We're busy running the fleet. And he did it in all caps. It was great.
That's fantastic.
That was fun. I loved it.
All right. Thanks a ton to all of our guests, and thanks for everybody sticking with us. I hope that we entertained you with our ridiculous antics, and we will see you all next week.
Yeah, that's the biggest show we've had in a year, by the way. 1,060.
That was fun.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.